I'm a lover of books, right? I've got a book cupboard that's just teeming. I even possess Teach Yourself Plumbing. I now have no intention of ever reading it, but if I ever know anybody who wants to teach themselves plumbing, I could go, aha, I have just the book. But I bought this book, How to Develop Your ESP, years and years ago. And for some strange reason, last night I picked it up and had a read, and this one particular bit I will share, because I like to share. It refers to schooling. It's called Intuition versus Logic. In common with other forms of creative ability, psychic awareness is a natural part of our development. As children, we take part in exercises to increase our ESP powers. These take the form of games such as Blind Man's Buff, I Spy and Pin the Tail on the Donkey. Games like these promote instinctive, intuitive responses rather than rational or logical assessments. This stage in our development is also marked by strong powers of creative imagery. I mean, kiddies will go round and, pretend a stick is a sword, for instance. I know it said sword, but I like to say sword, so ignore me. Both these aspects of our... That's another book dropping to the floor. Both these aspects of our psychic growth are systematically suppressed. We are chastised for imagining things and for exaggerating. We are soon programmed to make value judgments based on the facts available. We are taught that there is only one valid way to make an assessment by the process of logical deduction. And when there is insufficient information available to make such an assessment, we are taught to reserve judgment. All intuitive and instinctive behaviour is actively, if not forcibly, discouraged. This negative programming is so effective that most adults find it extremely difficult to guess blind about anything or to accept any evaluation that has no basis in logic. At school, we were constantly advised to be methodical, and the problems we were given to work out the problems of logic and deduction, not real problems, i.e. the factors we were presented with, were compatible with the processes we were expected to use to reach the solution. The possibility that there might be alternative ways of dealing with the problem, or that there could be more than one possible answer, is never admitted. The framework is inflexible. At school, I was chastised for giving solutions to mathematical problems without showing the deductive process by which I was supposed to reach the solution. There was no allowance for the possibility of other non-deductive processes which could arrive at the same conclusion. The fact that the answer was correct counted for nothing. Although the situation has improved somewhat in recent years, and this was written in 1986, by the way, with a greater emphasis on learning through discovery, the process of education for children still has more to do with brainwashing than with increasing their powers of intelligence and creativity. Children are not encouraged to think, they are trained to think in a certain way. There is very little scope in the present system for the development of the intuitive faculties. Hence, it is not surprising that children, as we have seen, possess stronger ESP powers than adults, and that their psychic abilities tend to fall off sharply when the process of education begins. Now, that, I've not read the whole book, it was one of those psychic moments, picked it up, read that, thought, that is just what I've been saying. Is it not? That is what school is for, to knock any humanity out of us. So I just thought I'd share that really, because it says quite nicely what it is that I'm trying to tell you. We're not encouraged to be human. We're not encouraged to be individual. We're not encouraged to have hope. We're not encouraged to have faith in... Encouraged? Yeah, that's right, isn't it? We're not encouraged to have faith in ourselves. We have every bit of life battered out of us with negativity and numbers. And bearing in mind that schooling starts at the age of 4, Corey came home to me the other day, my 5-year-old, who's named after the lead singer of Slipknot. He came home to me and said, we learnt about Jesus at school today. Now, and so obviously when you're a parent, I don't Well, I kind of do try and educate them myself. Well, I do. Because the people at school, they just know that they have to teach them this stuff. They don't know whether it's right or wrong. But he did come home. No, that's it. It was last year, I think, and one of them came home sobbing their heart out. And I was like, what's the matter, sweetheart? And he was like, I'm really sad. And I'm like, why, darling? He's like, because Jesus is dead. Because he died for us. And that's really sad. Now, that is something he'll never forget. And this was a year ago. You know, they get taught about Jesus dying for us all the time. Now, personally, I think if Jesus had saved us when he died on the cross or on the stick, or even if he lived, right, then the world wouldn't be in this tip now. We were told that he had saved us so that we didn't then try and do it ourselves. It's all in the hands of some greater power. Our whole life is in the hands of some greater power. And there is no greater power than us, than the power that we are all a part of. I'm terrible for not, putting things aside, but I've got so much stuff sort of flying about the show. But somewhere, I don't know whether it's in the Bible or whether it's in one of the Gnostic Gospels, Jesus refers to us as the all. That is what we are. Jesus may have come to teach us something, but it wasn't that if you get yourself murdered, you've saved the world. It was the words that he said whilst he was here that were meant to teach us. They took most of them out. You know, the lady that taught me about the Bible was so, brainwashed, I suppose, really. Like, I was with her for 1.5 years and I told her at the beginning, I will never subscribe. There's too much that doesn't make sense. I spent 1.5 years discussing it with her, weekly lessons. And at the end of it, when I said, look, I've said, I can't do this. I want to know everything there is to know about it. I want to learn. But that's not going to make me sign up to it. And she was awful. She had me in tears. Why do you want to save the world? You can't save the world. God's going to do that for us. And then in a couple of sentences down the line, don't you think I've been waiting? The time for God to come has come and gone many a time, because she was 75, bless her heart. Come and gone many a time in my lifetime, and he's still not come to rescue us. And it's like, oh, hello, so you were lied to then. You know what I mean? So it's not the truth, just basically, we are not taught the truth. Whether you believe it or not, well, from the age of 4, we were told to believe what we are told to believe. We are told to believe that the people making our decisions are in the right place, that it's their place to govern us. That isn't true. That is not what our race is designed for. We're designed to work together with our fellow man, not blow their heads off and stab them in the street. This is what they have taught us to do, not what people like Jesus came to teach us to do. We are living in a lie, and the more that we go, can't hear, then the longer they're going to get away with it. And it's so easy if we just talk to each other, share what knowledge we do have. At the minute, knowledge has to come from school or the TV. Does that not strike you as odd? Nobody can have their own opinion on anything. If they do, they're poo-pooed like people like me. Ridiculed. I am ridiculed. Oh, that's a thought. If there's anybody out there who's really good at videos, if you can do something with my videos, right? Because I would just love to be able to just put a picture of me by the side of, say, a picture of George Bush or Gordon Brown or Tony Blair or whatever, and just see which one looks you in the eyes and tells you the truth. Which one cares about what happens to you? Which one wants you to have an amazing life? And which one is using you as a slave to do their bidding? And too many of us have died already with our lights, not being allowed to shine, not being able to do what we want to do because we've been too busy making money, going to school, learning what they tell us we have to learn. You know, it's difficult to admit that we're learning crap to fill up our brain so that we don't think for ourselves. But trust me, it is the absolute God's honest truth. Pardon me, that's probably quite blasphemous. I'm not against God, like I'm not against people of different races. So that was a bugger up. Please don't think that I was blaspheming, because I don't do things like that. Do I? See you soon. Bye.